So I love the V60. It's such a great brew method and it produces truly delicious coffee. And I think one of the reasons why I love it is not only does it taste great, but also it's scalable. We can sort of shift up our recipe a little bit to make more coffee for more people if we need to. So if I was brewing coffee for a bunch of people at dinner or at a family breakfast, this is what I'm going to reach for. I'm going to use 15 grams of coffee per person. That's what 15 grams looks like. I'll give that a quick grind. Grinding fresh is best. We all know that. Can you make great tasting V60s without grinding fresh? Yeah, of course, but fresh will be best. And we use it's kind of like a coarse salt. It's a bit hard to explain. The thing that we really want to control with a V60 is the way that the water flows through it. And the way that we control that is with our grind size. So the V60 works best if you have access to a grinder because that controls your flow rate. So we've got 15 grams of ground coffee and we're going to put this on our set of scales. We're going to pour our water and remove as much of this papery flavor that can come from these paper filters. But the thing I'm most concerned about is this. We want this ceramic cone to be hot. We want it to be hot as. We don't want the ceramic to draw any temperature out of our brew water. So we're going to get that nice and hot. Yeah, that's hot. Cool. Get rid of that. Now we're ready to brew. Actually, I'll do it this way so that you can see. I can't see it that well, but we'll make it work. So, coffee in. We can put a little divot in the center of our coffee pile. This is going to help the water permeate a little bit more effectively through our coffee. We want to get every little fragment as evenly wet as possible. I'm going to add just enough water to wet all of this coffee, which is about 30 grams approx. What do we get? 45, pretty close. Give it a good old swirl. We want to try to remove some of the gas. Coffee has a buildup of gas in it. This comes from the roasting process, and we want to get that gas out of the coffee beans so that the water can dissolve in and take our flavor out. So this process here is called the bloom, and we're going to let it go for about 30 seconds. Cool, so we've got 45 grams. We're going to add another 100 grams or thereabouts. You notice I'm going around the edge. All of the coffee that kind of got stuck on the side, we want that to flow down into the coffee bed, and we want about 150 grams. So we started with 45-ish. Now we're at 150. We're going to let that mostly drain through, and then we will pour again. Now the brew time, the total brew time, is a little bit dependent on the coffee and your grinder. So I would expect about a 3-minute brew time works really well for me and the coffees that I roast. 3-minute total brew time works fine for me, but it is a bit dependent on the grinder that you have access to. So it's nearly all the way out. We're going to pour real nice and slow, and we're pouring in a circle. The stream of water coming out of our kettle actually agitates the coffee fragments and helps to remove more flavor from them. It's a bit hard to brew when you're not looking exactly at the set of scales. Normally I'm looking at them. All right. So we can think of the stream coming out of this as a way to extract more flavor, which I really like. So we're at 250 grams, and we're going to let that drain through now. This is going to make enough coffee. This is going to make enough coffee for 2 people, or for one big serving, one big mug. And that's it. So if you were going to take this recipe and scale it up so that you could brew this for more people, what I would do is I would grind a little bit coarser, because you're using more coffee. That's going to create a bit more restriction. So if we don't grind coarser, because we've added more coffee, our brew time can get longer and longer and longer. So that could result in your brew being a little bit more bitter. So if you were scaling this up to brew for a bunch of friends, if you needed bulk coffee, then I would grind a little bit coarser than we have here. And that's it. It's really simple. The V60 rocks. I think everybody should have one.